Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a masterclass in Pokemon Go. In today's episode we're going to focus on how to determine how your Pokemon stacks up against others of the same type before we move on to ways to pinpoint a Pokemon's exact location. So stay tuned. So here we'll start with the Sylph Road website, which I think is the most comprehensive and user-friendly Pokemon Go info on the web. I'll drop a link to the site in the description below so that you can check it out yourself. Basically on this page is a summary of all Pokemon attack, defense and stamina stats. You can see that stats increase as Pokemon evolve, as you'd expect, and generally get higher as we approach the later Pokemon like the legendaries. This list can be sorted into attack, defense, stamina or combined stats, each of which will contribute to Pokemon's abilities in battle. Basically this boils down to Pokemon with high attack stats will generally be good at taking down or training gyms, Pokemon with higher defense stats will generally be good at defending gyms, and Pokemon with higher stamina have a higher health pool, which is useful for both attacking and defending. Using this page will help you determine which Pokemon you want to focus on when you're catching, evolving or spending your Stardust, and basically give you a bit of an idea of what Pokemon you want to focus on and which Pokemon in your area are actually going to be good for gyms. The next tab here is a quick rundown of how players can get XP. I won't go into it a whole great deal because it's pretty self-explanatory, but basically you want to be hatching eggs and fighting battles and catching Pokemon. Catching Pokemon is your best bet. Catching Pokemon with a good throw is the best thing that you can do. This third tab is another quick rundown of trainer level requirements and what you get for the bonuses. You can see the XP requirements are on the left hand side and the bonuses are on the right hand side. Again, I'm not going to go into it much. Two quick things to note with this is that eggs stop leveling after level 20, so you may as well hatch anything once you get to level 20. And the other thing is Pokemon levels don't get any higher once you reach level 30, so keep that in mind when you're training. I'm going to quickly skip the fourth tab there and move to the fifth one, which is all about moves. And you can see here it's got a full list of Pokemon moves. It's got their DPS, how quickly they attack, all of those kinds of things, name of the move, and under each of these you've got the Pokemon that can use each move. This will help you determine how well your Pokemon's moves will work in combat. Basically you want to focus on that DPS section, unless you've got something that hits really hard or something that hits really quickly, in which case it can kind of skew this a little bit. But basically the DPS is the thing to focus on. So guys, just as a quick demonstration, I've pulled up my Gyarados here. You can see all the stats for the Gyarados, but there you've got your Dragon Breath, which is the Dragon type move, and Hydro Pump, which is a Water type move. Now, Dragon Breath has 12 DPS, and can only be used by a few different Pokemon. Hydro Pump's a little bit more common, but has 16.18 DPS, which is a little bit higher, so it makes it worth actually using that ultimate. And basically, that shows you where your Pokemon sits in that list of moves. These moves are both the best moves that you can get on a Gyarados in terms of DPS. Basically what this means is my Gyarados has the best possible moveset for a Gyarados. If there were moves above either of these two on those lists, then that move would be better and my Gyarados would not have the best moveset. And you can use this to kind of work out how well your Pokemon sits in terms of moves. Finally, if we go back to the fourth tab, we can have a quick look at how our Pokemon actually compares to other Pokemon of the same type. In this case, we'll continue using my Gyarados as an example, and we'll have a quick look at how we can calculate where my Gyarados sits on the scale of possible Gyaradoses for my level. So we begin by setting the player level here, mine's 22 at the moment, and then we move our circle around here until it matches up with what we see on our screen. You can double check this by checking the amount of Stardust and candies it requires to level up your Pokemon. Here mine's 3503, which matches up with what I've got on my game. And then we move down to these bottom two sliders, which help us calibrate the total CP and then the total health of our Pokemon. Once we've done that, we can calculate, and there you can see my Gyarados is actually in the top, probably 20 to 30% of Gyarados at my level. So it's actually a pretty good Pokemon. I'm actually pretty happy with this, and I'm quite pleased to have this Pokemon in my stable. Hopefully it kind of stays as a pretty relevant Pokemon. I'm not sure if it will, but we'll see. So yeah, basically this is how you can kind of compare your Pokemon to others. You'll notice here that the variance is very small. And it says on the side here that Pokemon can vary by up to 10%, and that's a pretty small margin really. So you don't have to put too much stock into this, but it does help you find out which Pokemon are the best and which Pokemon you should be putting effort into maintain or evolve, because you might find a really good Pokemon very early on, which might make it worth keeping it up to date, especially once you reach late 20s, early 30s kind of level, where Pokemon stop increasing at all. So keep that in mind when you're leveling out your Pokemon, and keep that in mind when you're looking for new ones that you've caught. Finally guys, I just wanted to show you how to pinpoint Pokemon exactly where they are. Considering the 3-step glitches that are happening at the moment, this is a bit of a workaround, and I don't consider it cheating as long as that's still there. If you keep using this after the 3-step thing's been fixed, maybe you're a bit of a cheater, but that's really up to you. I'm not going to judge if you do it. Because I'd probably do it if there was a legendary or something around anyway. So basically what you do is you go to this website called Pokevision. Again, I'll link that in the description below, and you put in your local address, or you can just click on the map and drag it around, and then you can use that big red button at the bottom there to kind of refresh and load in the Pokemon. It gives you a rundown on what Pokemon are in the area and how long they're going to be there for, which is the important part. The other important thing that this lets you do is filter through Pokemon, so that you can filter through, get rid of the Zubats and the Pidgeys and things. And then the other really important thing that I think it does is lets you kind of scan your local area to find out where certain spawns are. Now for me, being in Australia, I have access to Kangaskhan, which typically aren't available outside of Australia or New Zealand, I think, because they're regional Pokemon. So unless you get them from an egg, you're not going to be able to get them. Now for me, I've found that they're down at the local golf course. So if I head down there, I'll be able to go and catch a Kangaskhan, and that gives me an advantage in that way, which is something that you used to be able to do in the old Pokemon games by using the Pokedex, but for some reason they haven't implemented it here. So hopefully, you guys can use that as a bit of a workaround, and don't see it too much as cheating, because I don't think it's a huge problem as long as you're using it responsibly and not just going around, getting all the good spawns constantly. Because it's, part of the fun of the game is to run around and explore with your friends and catch those Pokemon kind of naturally while you're enjoying the outdoors. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, leave a like, share the video, and get subscribed to see more. If you'd like to support my channel and get free Pokecoins, you can use my Cash for Apps link, which is in the description, along with a video explaining how that works. In the comments down below, tell us your character level and what team you're in. And as always, my name's Zach, and I will see you next time.